Hello and welcome into another episode of Why'd They Do That, the series where I analyze a drummer's part and we talk about the impact that their choices have on the song. Today we're going to be listening to Shaking Paper by Cat Power. Now I will be honest with you, I had never heard of this artist before, so I had no idea what to expect when I was listening to the song for the first time. Once I got into it, I was pretty positive that I heard two drum parts going on, so I went to the internet to see if they had two drummers in the band. I found out that Cat Power is the stage name for a singer-songwriter. I couldn't find any live videos of the song to confirm if they have two drummers or not, but I did find out that according to the internet, Dave Grohl is playing drums on this track. Now I haven't mentioned any of the other drummers so far in this series because the focus is on the part and how it serves the song, but I just thought that was an interesting fact, if it's true, because I never would have guessed that that's Dave Grohl in the recording. Back to the mystery of the two drummers, it is absolutely two drum tracks on top of each other on the recording. One is playing a beat, the other is doing a bunch of snare work. The drum intro that you're going to hear has the snare playing grid number 7 into grid number 8, minus the last hit of 8, which is very similar to what we heard in the electronic hi-hat part of Emergence by Sleep Token. The difference is that instead of feeling 16th notes, we're feeling 8th notes, so the note values are converted the same way they're converted in the grid beat system. Keep that in mind for any other grid rhythms I mentioned in this song. Now the skeleton of the beat for the entire song is built around a 2-measure phrased halftime feel with a snare on count 3. However, in the second measure there is also an extra snare on the and of 1, so even though the foundational beat is a halftime feel, the actual beat is made up of grid beats D inverted, measure 25, and grid beats F inverted, measure 15. For those of you familiar with the grid and with my grid beat system, this means that the bass drum pattern is built around grid number 7 and grid number 9. As we listen to the song, you will notice that it doesn't really have many sections to it, it kind of just vibes the whole time. There are a few areas where the drums feel a little bit elevated, and that feel comes from the drummer doubling the bass drum hits of the main beat. For the first measure, they are adding bass drums after each hit, and for the second measure, they are adding bass drums before each hit. Something I noticed as I was listening is that there are only 3 times in the entire song where the snare gets moved off of count 3 in the main beat. I'll put transcriptions up for that when we get there. As always, there's a link to download my notes for the song as well as any included transcriptions in the video description below. Let's start listening. that is an interesting song. It's obviously not trying to be a top 40 hit or anything like that. It's much more atmospheric than catchy. What I find most interesting is that rhythmically, the entire thing is built around line 2 of the grid, measures 7, 8, and 9. Throughout the song, those rhythms are mixed and matched against each other between the overdubbed drum tracks. There was a lot of echoing parts where one of the tracks would play immediately after the hit of the other track, and that's exactly how the rhythms in line 2 of the grid work against each other. If I clap measure 7 and accent the rhythm of measure 8 with my voice will be immediately after each clap. 1 E, 2 E, 1 E, 2 E, 1 E, 2 E, 1 E, 2 E, If I clap measure 8 and accent the rhythm of measure 9 with my voice, the same thing happens. 1 and a 2 E, and a 2 E, and a 2 E, and a 2 E. And if I clap measure 9 and accent measure 7 with my voice, the same thing happens. 1 E, a 2, and a 1 E, a 2, and a 1 E, a 2, and a 1 E, a 2, and a. Knowing that these rhythms work like this makes what sounds somewhat complicated and looks somewhat complicated on paper actually quite easy to play. Again, this is why we practice the grid. That's all I've got for you today. Let me know what you thought about this song in the comments, along with any song requests you have for future videos. Thank you for watching this episode of Why'd They Do That? I will see you next time.